Welcome once again, fight fans, DAZN Mixed Martial Arts, Sean O'Connell and Dan Hardy. And I'm actually really excited to welcome our next guest to DAZN MMA because Bojan Veličković is a PFL OG, a guy that I'm very familiar with from his time in the Professional Fighters League. Now he's with Oktagon MMA, Oktagon title challenger. He's got a bout coming up in just a few days against David Kozma. Huge one for him. Bojan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys inviting me to join you.
So I want to start with this. You've been all around the sport, fought in the UFC, fought in the PFL. Now you're with Oktagon, which is one of these rising promotions that has a great reputation so far. As you've bounced around fighting in America, fighting in Europe, fighting in all these different places and for all these different organizations, what's always the same in mixed martial arts, and what has been kind of the biggest differences as you've made these certain steps?
Well, so first of all, the biggest difference that I noticed when I came, so I obviously started my career back in Europe in 2010, 2011, then made my way across the pond to US and competed there for a while. As you mentioned, I've been in UFC, I've been in PFL, and then I come back to Europe. And I was blown away, honestly, with what I found here. The sport grew so much since I was back here competing at the beginning of my career. It's like you can't even recognize the level of preparation of fighters, gyms, facilities, coaches. It's so it grew so big that, as I said, I was shocked. Plus, the events when I was fighting, the events that we were fighting at were like clubs and like small venues. Now we're selling out these 14, 15, 16,000 people arenas. There's no honestly any difference between fighting in UFC and fighting in Octagon right now, at least when it comes to like crowd, like the arenas, the venues, the fans are even more like I feel a lot more popular and a lot more appreciated here than I was in UFC. The number of fans coming, sending me text messages, Instagram and all that, blowing up. It's so shocking that I love it so far. And plus, when I started with Oktagon, they were only having fights in Slovakia and Czech Republic. Now we're selling out arenas in Germany. Already third event here. We also have another event coming up in Manchester. So they expanded to UK as well. So it's been a really exciting journey to be part of such a big movement and expansion for the organization in the last couple of years.
The Octagon events have looked incredible. I'm going to try and get to the Manchester one because it's got the two guys, Paul Smith fighting Jake Quickenden on it as well. I'm interested to see that one. It looks like a really, really strong event. And as you're walking out, the crowd are wild. They're excited for the fights. They know about the fighters. What is the Octagon doing right? And what's it like to walk out into a crowd that's that intense?
Oh man, my last fight was against Christian Jungwirth, who's German fighter. We fought in near his hometown, and the atmosphere was electric. I did fought in UFC in Stockholm against the hometown guy Nico Musoke, and I fought against Jake Matthews, who's an Australian guy in Australia. So I already kind of experienced that big stage, and fighting in front of hometown crowd. But this was like something different for sure.
That was a wild fight. I don't know how he didn't submit to that rear naked choke that you caught him in. I mean, you dropped him, you cut him. It was a wild fight. Anybody that's listening to this that hasn't seen it, make sure you go and check it out. It's one of the most exciting fights that you'll see this year for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely that choke that I had. I think that recently Octagon posted on their Instagram, since I locked until he got up and I dropped, it was 40 seconds that I had fully locked rear naked choke. His head was purple. I honestly don't know. Still, like a couple people ask me, like, what do you think? Like that guy was on, that, like, not to tap. I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't care. We kind of knew. I watched his fights before. I don't think he ever tapped. He's just like a guy that doesn't have a quit in him. So I kind of expected that, but still, I tried. You know, I'm very competitive, and I'll still try, even though I know, like, he's super tough. And then that happened in the first round, and then I had to go and fight 2 more rounds after, like, squeezing out for 40 seconds super hard, and being my arms felt like noodles, but I somehow pulled it off.
Bojan, why is this time the right time for you to, win the biggest fights, to win your biggest paydays in your career? You've been around, you fought some big names, you've had mixed success in big organizations. So why is 2023 the year where you'll achieve your kind of greatest heights in the sport?
Interesting question. I mean, I don't really know. I just think that, like, everything kind of came together, kind of the room tied together. Everything all the experience that I got through fighting across the world, I somehow stopped chasing the big paydays and like big results, and somehow things started coming back to me. Like, I don't really care. Somebody asked me the other day, like, how do you feel about making 80 grand? Like, the year that I fought, my first year in PFL, I made more than $100,000. I made like around $120,000, and I spent it all. I don't have any of the money. I won three or four titles in different organizations around the world, and those titles get forgotten after you lose a couple of fights in a row. Like, a lot of fighters like to say, you're only as good as your last fight. And so I stopped trying to impress people. I stopped, like, trying to chase money and fame and all these things. I'm really happy where I am in my life. I got my black belt last year. I started teaching kids. I'm a program director at my academy for kids developing kids program. I have around 100 kids in a program. And honestly, I'm very busy with that, and I'm just, like, trying to work besides that on myself. And things started, as I said, things just started, like, happening. So I'm just enjoying it.
What are your thoughts on your next opponent? Cosmo's a very, very strong grappler. You would surely expect him to try and take you down. How do you expect you match up with him? I mean, and of course, it's a rematch as well.
Yeah, we already fought, so I kind of know what to expect. He has very relentless pressure, like, very heavy grappler. Not like too dangerous not too dangerous when it comes to, like, threatening submission attempts and all that. But he's very strong. Tends to, like, be really heavy on top, and kind of like a wet blanket, and stay heavy and throw some punches, score points. So I mean, last time we fought, I accepted a fight on a 10-day notice. That was 2 years ago. So I kind of got in, and I accepted a 5-round fight on a 10-day notice. In the last fight, he finished me in the 4th round. During those four rounds, I have a couple of moments where I almost had him. And then I slipped on a banana peel, kind of like in a cartoon. So didn't get that finish. But I think I learned a lot from that loss. After I came back, I got a couple of big wins, and I think I learned a lot from it. So this time I had a almost 3 months long camp. I think I'm in a lot better shape physically and mentally, knowing what to expect, and knowing that in the last fight I went through a worst case scenario. I got finished, and I only got finished twice in my career. I mean, once before that, so that was my only second TKO loss out of 35 fights. So definitely left a kind of bitter taste in my mouth, and made me work hard to correct some mistakes and grow from there. So yeah, here I am. I'm excited for Saturday.
We talk about this a lot with the PFL, the level of activity and, going back-to-back camps. This is your third fight for Oktagon since March. So you're fighting every 3 months. It's grueling. It's tough. Is that something you prefer, to stay active, to stay in the gym, to not do the roller coaster with the weight?
Yeah, for me, definitely is. I think my biggest problem with UFC, why I was unhappy, is because I always had to hustle and send 100 emails to like ask for a fight, and then they're saying no, 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 and then like they say yes last minute, and I don't know when my next paycheck is coming. Now I know that I'm active, and I know that like I'm getting paid every few months, and so I can relax. I don't have to stress how much money I have on my account and all that. So that's kind of like a relief. Plus, as you said, this is actually my third fight this year, but this is the healthiest I've been this year. In my first fight this year, I broke my toe. So half of my camp, I had to kind of hump around, like jump around on one leg, and it was crazy experience. In my second fight, at the beginning of camp, I broke my rib. And so no wrestling, no grappling. I just did stand up and like very limited movement. And so this is my first camp that I didn't have any like serious injury that I could have like pushed really hard. And that's like after two camps and 2 hard fights. And for this third fight, I feel like incredible. So I think it's great to be active and learn through every fight. I see something that got better, something that I could have done better. So in the next training camp, I just like go right back to the gym next week after my fight, and I started working on things. So I really like it.
What are your thoughts on the other welterweight bracket on the card? Glitzman against Michailidis.
Honestly, that's another thing that I learned. I'm not paying too much attention. First of all, I have this guy in front of me who's a super tough opponent who already managed to finish me. So I'm not taking that for granted. I'm not like overseeing him and like studying my opponents for the finals. I know that if I win this fight, I'll have enough time to prepare and study my opponents and all that. What I know from what I've seen so far is that both fighters are very tough, very strong, very skilled. Got some impressive wins in these first 2 rounds of the tournament. So I don't really know who would I put as a favorite. They both have like really good grappling and wrestling. I think Michailidis is a little bit decent on the feet, but we'll see. I don't know. As I said, both of them super tough, very skilled guys. So I'm very interested to see who's going to come as a winner from that fight.
35 fights into your career. Do you have a favorite fight, that one that you look back on as you had the most fun, or you thought it was as close to a perfect performance as you put together?
The last one was definitely not the prettiest performance, but I think one of the biggest wins of my career. One of my favorite ones, when considering experience itself, like fight week, fight and post fight, is Sweden. When I fought at UFC Fight Night in Sweden, that was Gustafsson and Teixeira event. I won by a KO in the 3rd round, got fight of the night bonus. I had my family there. I had a couple of really close teammates there. Whole fight week was like exciting and a lot of fun and a lot of laugh. And then after the fight, celebration and summer in Sweden. I think the sun was out till midnight. So like we had a lot of fun after the fights on the hotel patio. That was definitely I would separate that from all the rest of the events and fights.
How different are you technically from that fight to now? How much of a different martial artist are you?
I mean, I don't know. Like I don't think there's like a measurable thing they can say. I know that back then I was blue belt or a purple belt. Now I'm black belt, and I got another, I think, 20 fights probably since then, because I fought a couple more times in UFC. After that fight, then I had a whole PFL, 2 seasons, and now this is going to be my 7th or 8th fight in Oktagon. And so, yeah, I think I'm a lot different. How much different, or am I better? I don't know. Yeah, I'm just excited for this fight on Saturday, man. It's it's a great opportunity for me to get this win and get to the finals of this tournament. I'm super, like, when I got offered to fight for this tournament, 16 most talented guys from Europe. They're obviously are not in UFC currently. It's been a really big experience in my life.
So we do this with the PFL, right? Where there's less awareness of the PFL. There's still less awareness of Oktagon than there is of the UFC, which of course is the global brand leader. But are we at a point now where, I know it's true in the PFL, where people will sign with the PFL and they plan on staying in the PFL regardless of the level of success they have? Is Oktagon at that point for you where you win this tournament and it's not a stepping stone to get back to the UFC? It's, I want to be an Oktagon fighter, or you tell me.
Honestly, yeah. I said that I was writing an interview today for somebody, and they asked me about that. And so when I signed with Oktagon, I didn't know what to expect. I thought I'm probably gonna try to get a couple of wins and get back to UFC or something like that, Bellator. I don't know. But now, since I'm here, like, seeing how much they expanded in the last 2 years, events that were selling out, fan base, and the fact that every time I come to fight, I can go and visit my family in Serbia, is something that really, like, I don't know if I would change anything. I don't know if I would go somewhere else. Plus the people they're running Oktagon, and all the employee I have a great relationship with, and they appreciate me. I don't have to hustle and pull anybody to, like, do me a favor or anything, to do something for me. Everybody's like very nice and polite. I mean, after all, I grew up in Europe, and like I understand this culture a lot better than US culture. Maybe I didn't find myself in UFC and PFL just because, like, I'm not that, like, business strict, like Western business strict oriented. Like, I like to be, like, good with people that I'm working with, and I like to have that connection. Like, I even when I'm not fighting, I'm talking with people from Oktagon on a regular basis through WhatsApp, and like we're staying in touch, and they ask me what I'm doing, like if I get engaged or if I'm doing something. They all kind of send me the messages, and they're interested in my life outside of fighting, not just for fighting. So I don't know, honestly. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really enjoying Octagon right now, and I'm not too concerned what's next. I right now I'm in this tournament. I have this big fight ahead of me. I'm part of this big tournament and promotion that it's expanding and growing with every event. So yeah, I'm just happy where I am right now.
So what's the plan between now and the fight then? Of course, like, most of the hard work's done now. Do you have any more hard training sessions to go? Are you far off from the weight class?
No, weight's great. Weight's like, I mean, obviously, as I mentioned, 36 fights. I never 35 or 36 fights. I never missed weight, so that's good. Tonight I'm doing a lighter sessions. Tomorrow my coaches will arrive from US, and tomorrow and on Wednesday I'll have a little bit harder session, just to kind of like spike my heart rate during the fight week. And then on Thursday, day before the weigh-ins, I take a day off. I go get a massage, and I start cutting weight in the morning, like a couple hours before the weigh-ins. And I'm usually always like good on weight, and then refueling and getting back to my regular weight, getting in a like mental shape. And then on Saturday, I'm all business from morning till the fight is over.
Bojan, good luck. Thanks for joining us. It's been fun to watch you have some success. I've been following your career since you left the PFL, and it was great calling your fights in the PFL. So hopefully this streak for you continues. Good luck.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate both of you for giving me the opportunity to join you on your platform. And yeah, I wish you the best in your guys' careers as well.
Thank you, my friend.
Bojan
Good luck.
Veličković, David Kozma in Oktagon MMA semifinal. Big fight.